Hey, we're here. Oh no. It's fixing it, everybody. Yeah, we don't know what's happening, but it's okay. She's fixing it. Technical difficulties. Please stand by. Meanwhile, my computer's giving me weather notifications like I need those right now. Mm, is it pulling from the wrong thing again?
Okay. Oh, got it. Okay, good. For some
I,
reason, okay, it was showing the title of my mic, but it didn't have it set on my mic. It had it set on default. And I'm like, why?
every
Anyway, hello everyone. Take two.
here.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I found it ironic that like this week, like everything just exploded in
I
the book
know.
world, and I'm like, and it was also when I had the biggest book haul I've ever had in my life. On top of the fact that it's also a TBR month, so like we're going over our next TBR. I'm like, dude, everything's just there's so much.
Oh yeah.
We've had like we've had some weeks where there's nothing, and then like some weeks where there's just everything in the world that could possibly happen.
Oh yeah. Alrighty. So, do we want to start with um do we want to do a wrap up kind of sorta or what are you thinking? Like
I read All I read was Daggermouth, and I really liked it. It was a five-star read, and it spoiled me for dystopian enemies to lovers because they actually stayed enemies and they did damage when they fought each other. Like it was
yeah.
brutal. And I will never see enemies. I didn't realize I was reading enemies to lovers that weren't done well until I read Daggermouth, and I'm like, oh, I've been reading them wrong.
Yeah.
They've been done. It was so good. And then I'm on the epilogue of City of Bones. So
Mhm.
I think I'm over my slump because I am just like I did this post up after the Sarah J Maas thing, and I'm like,
Mhm.
everyone's talking about the Mass verse read through before October, and I'm like, what about the Cassandra Clare verse read through before November? Like, can somebody please sympathize with me? So yeah, that's basically. So I've really enjoyed City of Bones.
Yes.
Um and the one I've been reading and then watching the TV show episodes, following what I'm reading. So I've been doing them
Mhm.
side by side. And I will say, for the first time, I actually think the TV show did some things better.
Ooh.
Like obviously the lore and like all of the base foundational stuff is there. I feel
Mhm.
like this is a true YA, and like looking at it as an adult,
Hmm.
I can see the silly kind of teenager kind of stuff in it,
Mhm.
and that's fine. And I'm glad that there's a YA that we still
Oh,
have
yeah.
YAs. It's like not quite as serious. Like there's one where one of the characters accidentally, it's non-spoiler, it's not a big spoiler, but one of the characters accidentally gets turned into a rat,
Mm.
and it results in this big dramatic thing, but like it's kind of like a stupid kind of silly or lead in to the big dramatic thing,
Yeah.
and that's not the case in the TV show, and they removed that part. And
Okay.
so they kept the character names and the concepts and the lore the same, but like it's like an
Oh,
adult
got
show, and
it.
I really like it more.
Mhm.
But I it was really nostalgic for me, so I'm still gonna
Okay.
keep up with it. Also, her writing was a lot younger and not quite as good. There was a lot of telling instead of showing. And Clary
Okay.
is such a teenager.
Yeah.
She's not a bad A warrior. She's just a teenager who like screams and jumps backward. Like it's just young Clary, and I'm not
Mhm.
used to young Clary anymore. So, but I really
Okay.
enjoyed it. So,
Okay. Cool. Okay. Quick run through because I know we've got a lot to talk about, so I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna do a two in one kind of thing. So I
okay.
read beginning of the month. I don't know if I started this. Okay, I started this in January, like January 26th, but I finished it in February, so I'm counting it as February. But it was
Right.
hollow. It was where the forest was cursed and it was like growing and like taking over the towns and stuff. And you
Right.
have like the Fae that are just kind of like staying out of it and letting the humans be the sacrifices and like stealing like human, like teenagers and children out of their homes to sacrifice to the forest. And and these warriors are trained their whole life to go in, and she gets sucked in because she plans on
Hmm.
going, but she hasn't been training like a warrior. She's been reading and reads a lot of books and does
Right.
like a lot of like lore, like knowledge training kind of thing, and she knows a lot more about the world than
Oh, that's just cool.
yeah, but it had like a really cool twist at the end that I wasn't really expecting. I guess I'm not like I'm horrible at picking up on like things, but it definitely felt like another version of like Beauty and the Beast, but it had a cool kind of unique twist to it. Um and
Nice.
it was one of those things where like I wasn't always in love with the main guy. Like
Oh, okay.
it's one of those stories where like you don't just instantly love him, and
Mhm.
he's kind of annoying at the beginning, and like at certain parts of the book like he definitely gets really annoying, and then it turns and like does like a shift, and it's like I don't know whether to like you or not. Like it's kind of hot, but it's not good.
It's kind of
So
hot.
it's kind of
I
hot,
really
but
need
it's
to read. I
not
need to get around
good.
to reading that.
And so I'm like, yeah. So that one was a 5. And then I read The Stars Are Dying, which I still like, but I ended up giving it a 4. It was another one of those kind of like last person standing kind of things, which this one was the same thing. So it was kind of in one of those kicks where I was thinking of like had to be the last person's had to have the most keys, these most like spirit, like they're like necklaces that you claim, and you can like claim the spirits of these necklaces, and the person with the most that claims them all and puts them in gets this reward, right? And so that's kind of like the whole premise of that one is like you have to be the last person to put it on the keys kind of thing, put all the necklaces back where they were originally from to like cure the forest kind of thing.
Right.
And this one was she was kind of in one of these situations where she was being held as kind of like a prisoner, but I guess not. It was kind of one of those things. He kind of reminded me of like like those big bad like they're not, it's not mafia. It's fantasy. But like how it kind of owns like the bar type place. It was one of those things like the guy owned the place, and he kind of indirectly kind of owned her in a way, like, and she would like he would lock the doors and she would be told not to leave, but she was like secretly friends with the princess, and so she would sneak out and go see her. Well, yada yada yada, things happen, and she goes for this competition, and you have to kind of like find these keys hidden around, like part these pieces to build keys to build your key, kind of thing for the main guy. But there's also vampires in there too, so it kind of I liked it. I'm trying to think of why I give it a 4 stars. Did I actually review this one or no? I may not have actually reviewed this one. No, I have not. I'm trying to think what happened at the end to make me give it a 4. I think it was just... Oh, I remember now. I'm sorry. That was like out of randomly. But the reason why... I just dropped it. The reason why I give it a 4 is because there were definitely moments where I felt like I was supposed to be emotional for characters, and I just wasn't emotional. And it was because I felt like there was a lack of character growth with several of the like side characters and some of the main characters too. Like, I just felt like we jumped into the action, into the story so quickly that I wasn't able to like fall in love with characters in order to experience the angst that happens later with them. You see what I'm saying? Kind of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It has potential and it has room for growth, and I love the world building concept of it. Like, I love the world building in it. And you know me, I am a huge, like, character growth is my thing. I'm always looking for that. And I just don't feel like there was enough character growth for me to give it a 5 star. Like, I felt like I was not emotionally scarred by certain things, and I feel like that's what she was wanting of us as the reader, to be emotionally scarred, and I just wasn't. Yeah, that was my reason. I definitely want to read the next one, but for some reason, every store I go to does not have the hardback version, but book 3 is hardback at Target, but Target only has paperbacks, and I want the hardback so they could all be hardbacks, and I can't find it. So I just kind of moved on to another book, but I will go back to it. I'll go back to it eventually. So that was my February, because it was just those two.
Yep.
I talked a
Um,
lot there.
so
Very quickly.
yeah, no, you're good.
Okay.
So I was expecting you to go over your current read too.
Oh, okay. That's what you were waiting for. I was wondering why you were just
Yeah,
like not saying anything, and I'm like, did I say something wrong? Like, what's going on? And okay, but yeah, there's this whole book that I'm currently reading right now. Okay, so one, it's a chonky book, and I haven't read. I felt like I haven't read a chonky book in a hot minute. I feel like it's been um. I feel like Crescent City was the last chonky book I read. No, I lied.
Alchemized.
Alchemized was. It was my last chonky book, and I'm just like, I've missed it. That sounds weird, but I've missed.
No, that makes sense.
Like, there's something about, like, if I'm comparing the world building with this book to the world building of this one, it is very different. And I feel like the more pages that book is, the more area for, like, growth and development for, like, characters and world building and stuff. It's giving, it's a fantasy Roman Empire. Because, like, they've been conquering these islands and all kinds of stuff. And there's, like, a pyramid, of, like, political pyramid of, like, hierarchy kind of vibe. And the actual, like, place, the actual empire is called the Hierarchy. That's their name. But it's, like, the Octavius star ranking is, like, the very, very bottom. And then, like, the higher up in the ranking you have, the more will you receive from people, which is kind of like their energy, like this world magic, essentially. And so, you follow this 17-year-old boy. He's an orphan, and I don't want to give too much information about his backstory, because that's kind of a big plot in the, one of the big things. But,
yeah.
He's essentially an orphan, and he meets this, like, it's just, he ends up getting into this academy through various means, and I'm not going to give details on how that happens either. But one thing that I think I told you was that, like, just like on a private Discord call that we did.
Yeah, because you wanted me to read chapter 1, and we've
Yes.
talked about it a lot at the restaurant, and then it on the chat and stuff.
And so
yeah.
One thing I've noticed, I like, and you can be my witness to this too. I love, like, multiple just different types of fantasy, like the classical epic fantasy. I love romantasy, YA fantasy. Like, it doesn't really matter what kind of fantasy. I just love it. Romantasy, I love them all. But I feel like I've read so many different romances lately that this one is very plainly written. It's like, and there's one point the main character makes the comment that he thinks this girl's pretty and that she's smart and beautiful and strong, but he's just not in a place where he can date, where that's like something he can, like a luxury he can afford kind of thing. And so it's like, it makes it very plain that romance, it's not going to be a romance, at least this book's not. And I don't want to look up the description of the next one because I'm afraid to find spoilers.
Michael said not to.
And Michael said there were some major spoilers.
Like, don't do it. Don't do it.
So there's major spoilers, but honestly, it is so refreshing, and I'm in like a pretty angsty time at the moment, like pretty emotional, at least for the main character time at, like, right now. And it's just like, I'm on edge because I'm afraid they're gonna figure out who he is. And I'm just like, his true backstory, I'm afraid they're gonna find out. And it was just like, there's one girl in there, and she infuriates me. But she's meant to infuriate people, and you're not meant to really, like, fall in love with her either. Because I can't tell, and this book, this world is one of those worlds that you begin to kind of sympathize with the people that you're supposed to see as the enemy, that are considered the enemy by the main character. Like, you begin to empathize with them, and there's times where he empathizes with them and he cares about them. Like, he doesn't want violence. Like, he's very much against, like, killing people and violence and killing the people, because there was people that helped him out, and his enemy helped him out at times, and then they were attacked, and he's like, you know what, violence is not I don't want that, but certain people do. And so it's like, you can't really tell which person you should be angry or should see as the enemy, because it just kind of goes back and forth, and it's just very I don't know, deep, I guess, is a good way of describing it.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it.
that makes sense. Yeah, and sometime in one episode we're gonna have to. We had a private discussion about this.
Okay,
We
yeah.
need to go over like we were talking about the differences and the pros and cons and like romantasy
Mm-hmm.
world building versus like epic
Yes.
fantasy, and so that's a whole nother episode for a
Mm-hmm.
completely different
Oh,
time.
yeah.
But yeah, so that was the things. So, are we gonna go over our TBRs for next month and then
Yeah.
the book haul and then the
Yeah, we can.
news? Okay.
I
All
didn't
right,
have
so I'm
very
gonna
many
finish
in
this
my
tonight.
list.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna
So,
finish this tonight. I'm on the epilogue, and I read ahead last night, so I'm like, I gotta finish the Shadowhunter season one. So I'm like, I read ahead last night. And I'm excited and I like it, and I know it ends in an angsty part. Well, actually, it ends more angsty in the TV show, I think, because I'm like, I think I mixed up because the TV show started to branch into book two, and I
okay.
forgot. So in my head, I had book two angst at the end of this book, and I forgot that
Oh,
it was actually in book two.
got
So
it.
that's gonna be exciting. Book two is like whole different like angsty
Mm,
circumstance that
okay.
I'm excited to reread the original
Yes.
version because again, a lot of my head got the TV show mixed up with the book, so I'm like,
Okay.
this is the OG stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go from this City of Bones to City of Ashes, and then probably go into City of Glass. So I'm just counting this as all kind of one thing. They're pretty small, so it's not like a ginormous type of
Yeah.
thing.
No, that makes
Also,
sense.
this is in much better condition than this. So I was like, oh my gosh,
That's
you can
funny.
tell which one I've read more often
Oh,
because
that's
these are
great.
in such better condition. But it's nice because it's like this was the original. These were the only three that existed, and this concluded the series. So we actually
Mm-hmm.
had like an ending and a conclusion, and then
Mm-hmm.
she came out with book four, and everything changed.
Yeah.
And so
That's
it's just
cool.
interesting to read stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interested to see the character growth because I forgot how I didn't notice because I was a younger teenager than they
Mm-hmm.
were at the time that I
Yeah.
read this, but they are such teenagers. My head, I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are so don't do that.
Young
Or
little
your
whippersnappers.
parents, and like not the parents, but like, why are you doing this? You're supposed to be obeying
Young
the rules. And
whippersnappers. Like shaking our canes
yeah,
at the.
no, I'm like such a boomer.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I'd probably be comparing it to my
um,
students at this point.
yeah. Well, and then I forgot I love Jace's character in this,
Mm-hmm.
but I forgot how mouthy he is and how like as a
Oh.
teenager I'm like swoon and I'm like, give that boy a spanking. Like
Smack
what
him
are we
upside the
doing?
head. It's like, you just want to
I'm like
smack
such
him
a
upside the
parent.
head.
Yes, I
Oh,
still love him
that's
though,
great.
but it's just like, oh yeah. And then yeah, and then it kind of comes. Oh yeah, I don't know. Just I love the TV show too, but
Mm-hmm.
and then I need the Sarah J. Maas stuff has escalated my absolute need to read
Uh-huh.
Crescent City, and I've seen so many memes and posts about like me. I have all the time in the world to read Crescent City, and then Sarah J. Maas, no, you don't.
No, you
Now you
don't.
only have till October. Like, dang it. So I'm gonna
I
have
really,
to.
really like book
This is
one, though, to be fair. Like, really, book one is
yeah.
probably my favorite of the three so far. Well,
Yeah,
no,
I know
I lied.
Rice is one of those kind of female
Honestly,
characters, and I'm just not ready for it yet. But I'm gonna
okay.
have to. I have no choice.
So,
So
the one thing that will help you, it's not very epic fantasy ish like Throne of Glass. It's not super elf, like, it's not very, it doesn't feel very fantasy, ballroom dressy, kingdomy like Akatar. It has
which
a
I'm kind of in the
it
mood
has like
for
a
urban
it has
fantasy
like a
stuff.
it has
So
like a fantasy New York City vibe. So if you go
which
in,
is actually City of Bones,
okay, but it's not
fantasy
it's
New York.
not actual Earth though. It's like it's its own
Yeah, no, I know.
realm. But it's like if you go in with the perspective of like there's fae, there's there's werewolves, there's like all kinds of different creatures there. There's like mermaids, all kinds of stuff. But it's definitely has a big city vibe. So I think you might
Yeah,
when you like having that context, I
I'm kind of
think
more into
you
that
might
kind of stuff.
yeah, and I think you might do
Yeah,
pretty well with
and
it. Um
and then the dramatic audiobook. I'm a sucker for those because it's
mhm.
got all the things. So and I got part one, so I
Oh,
need
sweet.
part two and
Hoopla
stuff.
has them, I'm
So I'm
pretty
good
sure.
for that.
Hoopla
And then
has
my
them. Let me
next
double check.
one that I need. and want to read now that I'm kind of out of a reading slump-ish. We'll see what happens. I don't want to say that I'm out officially because you never know.
Mm-hmm.
But is Water Rising
Oh,
by
sweet.
AJ Pruitt. But I'm like, you know what? Ironically, City of Bones and the Mortal Instrument series, because they're teenagers, but I loved it when I was a kid. Like, it's allowed me to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy reading about teenagers in a way that, like, oh yeah, this is fun, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. And so that's gonna help me get into, like, other books where that's about
Oh,
teenagers and
okay.
stuff. So in
Yeah.
this one, they're obviously in a fantasy world.
Yeah.
But her new book, I can say the title now because she did the title announcement for book 5. Yes, this is book 4, is Fire Blazing. And I'm like,
Ooh.
ah. So I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the focus on that one's going to be about Tad, and I love Tad. He's my favorite
Mm.
character. So I'm just like,
Fun.
it's going to be Tad's book. So I'm excited. So I need to read this one before that one comes out. So I'm excited.
Oh,
And
fun.
yeah, so
Okay.
that's another one I
So,
need to read.
because you mentioned the dramatic audio, the graphic audios, Hoopla has all of them. So
Yay!
you can go straight into them, and like book 2 and 3, like all the graphic audios are there. So
That's really good.
yeah. Okay, so my main focus is going into book 2 when I get done with book 1. And
Oh,
it's
okay.
actually like a dual. I saw some kind of like picture that I guess that the it's like a reversible cover,
Ooh.
so I can flip it around and do the other cover if I wanted to. But I'm being very risque by doing that right now because I'm not supposed to read the thingy. So we're gonna be.
Yeah, I'm like, you're pushing your luck here.
I won't. I'm gonna be very vague. But also the paper is like tinted. It looks purple. Like it's
Ooh.
not like fully sprayed edge because but you can see the different like it looks like
You can
it
see
has
the
like
difference,
a purple
yeah.
tint to it. So yeah,
That's really cool.
I can't tell you anything about this because I'm not supposed to look. So this is book 2 to the one I'm reading right now. I'm excited. It's another chunky book, and I'm
Michael
ready.
said, for reference, my husband opened it up. He read the blurb, told us not to do it, and then he opened it up and he said he read a single random page, completely random, and he said in that one page, the author did amazing world building. And my husband is like super niche certain stuff, and he actually is curious about it.
Sweet.
So that's all we know about it.
Yeah.
All right, so book haul. I actually was able to spend some money for once in my life, and
if
I
I get through that one before the end of the month, I might start Mistborn. I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
Those are my main focus. If I get through both of those, I start this, or maybe something else that I'll tell you later. All right.
Makes sense.
Okay. Go book haul.
Yes. So I actually splurged and got more books than I really need, and I still have more coming in when Amazon decides to ship them, so there will be more. I'm like, you know what? Just do all the things.
Yeah.
So the first ones have kind of interesting little tidbits. So mini story really fast because we got to get through some of this. One of the YouTubers that I watched did this like sponsorship thing of this app that's like a trading app, and so they do cards and like all kinds of different things, and they have thrift books on there, and it's like a $15 discount on there, and I found 2 books for $1 that I really wanted, but like I'm like, they're $1, so like I'll get them. Yeah, I didn't realize I had to pay for shipping, but I did get them and they did come in, so they were used. So I got the Martian, and
I love that book.
The Lucky One.
Oh my god, I love the Lucky One too.
I'm really curious to see how the book is different. Like, I'm curious. Now, I don't like this size. I'm for some reason I'm a snob, and I just don't like the 5x8. I'm a snob, but it's fine. So when I read them, I'll read them. But they exist. They were $1, and plus the shipping, so it's fine.
when somebody says it's fine, it's not fine, but they're pretending it's fine, so you're supposed to pretend it's fine too.
That's fine. Oh, that's hilarious. Now I'm gonna be careful when I say that. So that was the thing. The next ones are Rebecca Yarros, In the Likely Event and Variation. So I think you pointed me to In the Likely Event.
That one, yeah.
She meets this guy on a plane, and then
it crashes over the Missouri River. And that's where caught my attention.
And I was like, then they have a high stakes reunion in Afghanistan, and I'm like, I'm still in the process of slow writing my military romantic suspense series. So I'm like, that's the thing. And I love The Last Letter, and she does military dudes perfect. So So I did that, and then I found this other one by her that's like, he's a Coast Guard rescue swimmer, and they have a past and stuff, so it sounds kind of interesting. And so I'm more interested in this one, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely like really heavily like if I didn't have such a big TBR,
Yeah.
which is every reader's problem, then this would be higher up. So I had those two, and I'm really going through them. And then I was like, I have to get something. So I ended up getting, I think this was from Target.
I
I
also
don't
have that
remember.
one. I am very kind of like, I read the first few pages of it and I'm very on the fence about it. So if you start reading it and like it, I'll read it. But as of right now, it's not on
Okay.
my as of right
The
now, it's not on
irony.
my shelf. It's in a box somewhere. So it's in a bag next to the bookshelf because that's how
Okay.
undecisive I am about it. So
Oh my God.
if you
So
decide you
completely
like it,
different
I'll read it.
experience. Okay. I read the blurb and I was like, this is my book. This is my kind of book. I read the opening page and I'm like, this is my kind of book. And I'm so hyped and so excited to start this book. It's
I don't
just
know.
lower down on my TBR
I
list.
can't remember if I
So the
read the
fact that we
first
have,
chapter or how many pages I read, but I think it was like first few pages, and then I'm just like, okay, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know, like the character, the way the
yeah,
character was portrayed at the first little bit. I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm going to like this or not or what. So I'm like,
it's
it's
so funny
next to
that
the
there's a
bookshelf.
very
It's not in the
experience
bookshelf.
there.
It's next to it. So
I mean,
it
look at the
may
art.
graduate onto the it may graduate onto the bookshelf. It may not. It may not,
I'm
depending on
just
your
like
reaction of it.
um from what I know for everybody else, it's like it seems to be like military dystopian, like a fantasy
Yeah.
version of a military kind of dystopian. And he was like, it seems like they were experimented on in this secret operation, and he's
Mm-hmm.
kind of
Yeah.
insane. And I'm
Yeah.
like, male guy, insane from experiments, military, say no more. I'm here. I am
Yeah, it does
here. Make
sound
him
like you're
insane. Let's
like all the
do
stuff
this.
that you like. So
I know. I'm like,
your excitement for it may change my mind, but
okay. It's a little lower down on my TBR list
yeah.
because I have all of this other stuff to get through. But if
Yeah.
I didn't, then it'd be like, I'm going to start this tonight. Like, that's how excited I am for this
Ooh.
book if I didn't have all this other stuff I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So that's the next one. Um, I don't know why I bought this book. So the next one is Famous Last Words by Gillian McAllister. I have no idea why I bought this book. This was an impulse buy because it sounded good. And I was like, huh, okay. And then I just added it. And I kind of regret getting it because it's probably going to be one of those that sit on my shelf. And I
Yeah.
don't read it. But I kind of, it just, so basically, she just got back off of maternity leave and she returns to her job, and then she wakes up, her husband isn't there, and his place is like this
Mm.
note. And then there's this hostage situation developing in London, and her husband Luke is like the guy behind it. And so it kind of
Oh.
gives this mystery of like
Yo.
what the heck's going on. And so I was just
Yeah.
like, you know what,
It
that
does
kind of
sound kind
sounds
of
good.
it
I
does
got
sound
that one.
interesting. Might be worth a shot.
Yeah, and then I was excited for this one by Andy Ware, Hail
Mm.
Mary.
I've got that one too.
Ryan
It's a
Gosling's gonna be.
yeah.
I actually got to pick between the covers I liked, and I picked this one because I love Ryan Gosling, so sue me.
That's fair.
Not really, but you know. And it's like sci-fi stuff, and I'm like, the guy has to survive, and it's
Per
Ryan
the
Gosling and he's
I
hot, so
guess
why not?
per the people that have read the book, if you don't want spoilers, they say not to watch the movie trailer. Because
I don't think I have, so I will. Okay.
I guess the movie trailer gives like a big spoiler like for the book in the
Oh,
movie
actually, I know
trailer.
what it is.
I know. I think
I
I
thought.
accidentally learned about it
I know.
too, but I'm just like, you know what? We're gonna pretend I didn't, and eventually, when it gets
Yeah,
closer
go
to the
into this
movie coming
blind.
out, I'll read it. But yeah,
Yeah, so I'm excited. I definitely want to read this before I
mm-hmm.
get to the movie.
Honestly, I forgot about that one. To be completely fair.
Yeah, I've heard it they compare it to The Martian, so I'm like, I really
Ooh,
am
I
interested
loved The
in that.
Martian.
So, like,
The,
I picture him just hotter. I guess I don't know. I'm shallow,
it's
whatever.
okay.
Anyways,
That's
I'm
alright.
shallow and I'm married. That's all you need to know. And then I got The Will of the Many, which you've been talking about, and you
Ah,
made me read the
yes.
first chapter, which was actually a good thing because I liked it. It's just lower down on my TBR because of all this other stuff. So,
Yeah.
'cause I have to read, cause I really need to read, because I want to read Cassandra Clare before her new book, so I'm fresh on like all of the things. And then same thing with Sarah J Maas with the Crescent City series,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's just everything else is getting pushed down. But
No, that's fair.
definitely excited to read this one. And especially like when I get through some chunky books, it'll be nice to like
Ooh.
read some short books, and then get back to chunky books again, like you said. So
Yes.
that is my book haul for now.
Okay.
Like I said, I have more coming.
Okay, so information one of the things that was on my list that kind of connects to future TBRs. So somebody, who was it? Captain Bond Reads on TikTok. I don't know who it is. I don't know if they made this list or not, but they made a list starting April 1st through October 25th, and it is all 16 of the Sarah J Maas books. And like, if you read it between this time and this time for each of the books, you will have all of them read before the new one comes out. And so, like, it starts with, like, all of the Throne of Glass books, and then you have the ACOTAR books, and then you have the Crescent City books. And it's like, yeah, so Throne of Glass is from April to July. And then ACOTAR is July through September. And September through October is Crescent City. So I'm like,
how many are reading in that a day? Like, it's gonna take me a while to get to Crescent City.
I don't know, but I'm just like, honestly, I want to attempt it. I just want, just for the fun of it, I just want to try. And then if I get like a little burned out, I'm like in like Throne of Glass or whatever, I'm like, okay, I can do like ACOTAR or something and just read the ACOTAR books in prep. Like, if anything, I just want to read, I want to read ACOTAR and Crescent City again, just to refresh myself.
Yeah. Same.
Of the main ones.
I really want to reread ACOTAR, because I also want to read the fan fiction, and then I have the dramatized audiobooks for ACOTAR that I want to go through for the first time. And I already reread ACOTAR the year before last, I think. I started to, and then we got on our TBR list and it got derailed. Yes. So I wasn't able to do my reread, but I stopped in the middle, I think at the end of ACOTAR, so I would do book 2. I would probably pick up on book 2.
Yeah.
I mean, we're every reader's problem. Like, the TBR just keeps getting bigger. Yes. And now we're adding rereads of, like, I'm rereading 2, technically that would be, I'm reading 2 different series by different authors to catch up before it's, it's okay.
It'll be fine. It's all gonna be fine.
Going back to the fine comment.
Oh, God.
Okay, so I have tons of notes from the Sarah J Maas interview, which is our next big thing, so I figured you could go first and talk about all the things, and then I'll kind of pick up on what you didn't, basically. I, hyped the whole thing.
So, the main thing, one of the things that I've seen, can we just comment that she has, 3 to 4 fully written books that just aren't published from other series? Yeah. And I don't know
also, real quick, for everybody who doesn't know, Sarah J Maas, the author of ACOTAR, Throne of Glass, and Crescent City, as we've been talking about, did this big interview, and it's the first news we've heard about ACOTAR 6 for those of us who've been waiting. I think Silver Flames came out in 2021, and it broke the internet, and everybody's going crazy, and that's what we're talking about. So,
context. Yeah. Okay, and possible spoilers for just the series in general, except for Crescent City, because Joanna has not read that series yet, so I probably won't. I'll make sure not to say anything with that one, or anything connected to that. So just be aware.
We skipped that part of the video where they were talking Crescent City. Like, I don't want spoilers and help me.
Yeah, she's like, you were texting me please let me know when they're done asking rapid fire questions. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I think we're good at this time. And she's like, thank you. And I'm like, you're welcome. Doing my duty.
Doing your duty. I salute you.
My service to the community.
Yeah, that was great.
Anyway, okay, but that just kind of blew my mind, because I'm like, does she have a whole nother series started that she just has not published? And I'm just like, I just love that. I'm not going
to tell you guys anything.
I know. I know, not even anything. Okay, random thought that just came to my mind before I do my big one. Did she actually say that the one coming out in October was ACOTAR? Yes. Because I don't remember her actually explicitly saying because she said the next ACOTAR book would come out next year. That's what her exact words were. The next ACOTAR book will be such and such date. But everyone is saying ACOTAR 6 and ACOTAR 7, and Barnes & Noble hasn't marketed as ACOTAR 6 and 7, as well as Amazon, but she never said the one in October was going to be the next ACOTAR book. I don't remember her saying that exactly.
She did. Okay. She said it was this thing, because they were clarifying the arrow thing, her handwriting. and she was like, it was ACOTAR 6 with the arrow pointing forward to indicate things going ahead of that, and it is for the next ACOTAR book, which is coming out on October 27th of this year. She
Oh,
said it took
okay.
her time to write, and she had enough things in her life to sort
Okay, good.
through. It took her time to find the right story.
Okay. I just needed to
She's
get
not going
that
to
in
tell us
clear in
the
my head
title yet, is
because
what she
for
said.
some reason my brain just skipped over her clarifying, and I was afraid that it was going to be like a novella for maybe like Crescent City or something, and then that, I don't know. It was just
Oh,
like my brain was like, did
yeah.
we for
There
sure?
was a
Because
lot of
well,
information.
and then like Barnes and Noble and Amazon both have like they don't have the official like titles, but they're just labeled ACOTAR 6 and then ACOTAR 7, and you can like pre-order them. And I'm just like, I
Mhm.
know I've seen those, but I'm just like, I wanted to get your clarification on that because I know you said you were taking a lot of notes, so I'm like, okay. But
1,500 words, to be precise, in case anybody wants to know how much I typed.
okay, so Katie the Reader on TikTok, I saw this video earlier today, and I'm like, okay, this will be perfect. But she, like the quote that she had on there has Sarah J Maas had a falling out with Bloomsbury. And she's like, and her comment was, I feel like, she's like, I feel like the tea is a lot hotter than what we're thinking and what we assume it is. And she thinks that she's speculating that there, like, could there possibly be have been a falling out with Bloomsbury? And her evidence, she had several points to back this up. She said one,
Okay.
the story she told about them, like essentially pulling her out of postpartum, like her maternity leave early, like weeks after she had like a horrible C-section experience.
She was editing while she was in postpartum. Yes, I
Yes, and
remember
she was
that.
editing in postpartum, and it was talking about how she was in like a really low point. And then she said that she was the number of pages was limited by the glue that holds the books together. And at first I was taking that more like literally, that like you can only fit so many pages in a binding. But then Katie in this video, she pointed out that she thinks that it was like a sentence. My brain
Yeah.
essentially was like saying that production decisions were shaping her creative output was the words that Katie used, which
Yeah,
I
see.
could
That's
see
kind of
that
the
being
vibe.
it's more implied, but I could see that being a thing. And then she
Well,
said,
here's a quick note about the binding thing, because I was talking to my husband because I was just so fangirly, and I was just
yeah,
blabbling the whole thing. And when I said that, I was like, okay, because the printers can only do so much glue to hold it together. He's like bull crap, and I was like, Michael, and he was like, what? And I'm like, just listen to me talk. And I kept babbling because I was like, that's
but
what
yeah,
she said, okay. But he did make a comment of like that's not necessarily true, but we didn't get into the discussion
no,
about
yeah.
that. So I'm like, it does make me wonder,
And
based
then
on
okay, so then she went on to say that Sarah made the comment that she got the rights back to um her
the TV
books,
show.
and that it was like
Yeah.
it was part of like a big part of like her journey with writing this next book, like whole big part of her journey with her books was getting the rights back. And then she said that she would talk about it, quote, at some point soon. And she was thinking that that's probably hinting that mixed with her saying that there was delays in the new ACOTAR book due to unrelated yet relating to the book. It was unrelated yet
Yeah.
related to the book. And she's like, that's her way of saying, like, sounds like something more like legal jargon, like saying that she can't talk about it, but there's something else going on. And her last
Okay,
point of
I relate.
evidence
Yes.
was saying that she's releasing two big books really close together, and that's not something that a publisher would tell her to do.
Yeah. And so I totally agree with everything that she said. And my additional thoughts on this
Yeah.
are like, because she said several times about how she's doing it, kind of implied she's doing something new.
Yeah.
And she's like, why do we have to write our books and do like check these boxes and do it a specific way where the characters go from point A to point B, and she's wanting to do her own thing. And so that
Yes.
implies to me that there is some sort of conflict with the publisher demands versus what she wants to do creatively.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And she's kind of determining to plow her own way, like it didn't to do her own thing. And so there was a lot of like, okay, so what,
Yeah.
what does that mean, kind of thing. It was a lot of the questions
Yeah.
there. Like, what are you doing
Honestly,
that's new?
I just want to know what happened. I want to know what she
Yeah,
like, cause you know, and I know based on what you've told me how much of a hassle it was to get your books back from the publisher. So I can't even imagine what she had to pay them or what she had to do to get all the rights back. Like for
I
Throne of
know.
Glass, for
I'm literally
Akatar,
so
Crescent
sympathetic.
City, and I'm just like, dude, it makes me sick just thinking about it. Like, no wonder she had to
Yeah,
go into therapy because of all the crap that they were making her do in postpartum. And then, and it sounds like she was in the middle of writing Silver Flames, and which would explain the emotion because she's told their story about like the whole, like, the lows that Nesta was in was essentially her. And she was writing
yeah,
that into the
yeah.
story unintentionally and didn't realize it until she was in therapy. And it was just like, I don't know. Like, it just, like,
Yeah,
it's crazy that
yeah.
you or her or anybody, any writer has to go through that crap just to be able to make creative decisions about your own world that you created from your
And even
brain.
to get it back, the part
Gosh,
what
man.
gets to me is the part where there's NDA, so it's like you literally legally can't talk about it. Like I'm actually, and just to get your rights back, there has to be an agreement of you're not going to talk about what happened and what went wrong. And
Mm,
so, and mine was a small publisher that is just not like, it's not as big. Simply put, it's just not big. So I can't imagine the big legalities that she's gone through, and there's so much that we
oh,
don't know behind the scenes that's going on,
oh my
and the
gosh,
demands that they've
yes.
made of her, and how much it's probably hindered her creativity. Because in the interview, she talked several times about how like where she came to this point, something to the effect of she came to the point where like it wasn't just writing for fun anymore, and like she had
Mm-hmm.
to work through all of those issues,
Yeah.
making where she's has, because she said the first rule of success for her or something like that is like making sure that she loves getting to tell the stories she wants to tell, how and when she wants to tell them. It's a gift and a blessing, all she's wanted as a kid, and she wants to be happy in her life, find the balance, and create from a place of creativity and excitement while having a life that's fulfilling. So she wants to make sure that creativity is and writing is always going to be exciting for her.
Yes. And
So
I
that makes
love
me think
that.
that there was a point when it wasn't the case, and that seems to be like, well, that would be all of the issues with like publishers and
Honestly,
demands and things like that.
part of me wonders, like, if that wasn't what was going through her head through parts of Crescent City. And you remember how between books 2 and 3 I said that there was a huge shift in her personality. I
Yes.
wonder. I wonder if that shift was
Maybe
Sarah's
that's where the
doing,
rage comes from.
or yeah, it could be. All of this legality going on, that's probably why, cuz in that book she's raging at the Fae. She hates the Fae. She's constantly dragging the Fae. And so and they're like really powerful people in that world. And so it's like, honestly, it would make sense. It makes
When you
so
think
much
about the
sense.
parallels there, oh
Dude.
my gosh, we've just unlocked a metaphor of Sarah J. Maas. I feel it.
Okay,
I'm
speaking
just
of
like, what is
speaking
that?
of that, my third thing, and you're gonna freak out at
Okay,
this because this has
okay.
implications for the next 2 books. Okay,
I gotta try to
so
keep my blood pressure okay.
okay,
Okay.
your brain. I need your brain to be in Throne of Glass mode. Okay,
Okay.
Throne of Glass mode.
Okay.
Okay, so Leah, Leah Aubrey on TikTok. I've got all of it. I put people's names because I'm like, I wanted to credit them. But so she
Right.
posted, it wasn't her talking, it was just had some text, and it had like clips of like, it had like the first book in Throne of Glass and then the first book of Akatar. And it was like stacking them on top of each, like Throne of Glass, Akatar, and it was do like one after the other. Like the first books in
Okay.
Akatar, the first books in each series, then the second book in each series, and so on and so on. And the text said that the Throne of Glass, it was like that the published book 6 in the Throne of Glass ended with a gut-wrenching cliffhanger and switched POVs for the 7th book. And it was like insinuating that in Akatar we're getting books 6 and 7. And so they're thinking, so is 6 going to end in gut wrenching, like angst, and then switch POVs in book 7? Because she said she was surprised at the twist that it took and how it went. And there
Surprised
are
by the
so many
POV that
pages.
came out.
And there's so many pages. Like, but the one that's coming out next year is like 800 and some odd pages.
That's crazy because she said it was part 1 is the one coming out in October, and parts 2 and 3 is the one coming out in February, and she hasn't even started part 4 because she wanted to get us this because we've been patiently waiting for so long. And she did say that she was surprised by the POV that came out of it.
Yes.
Because one thing that she talked about as a writer was she talked about when ACOTAR, like, she just intended to write this cute little Beauty and the Beast retelling, and then Rhysand walks in on Calamari, and she wasn't planning or expecting that. So she's very much I'm gonna like
Yeah.
write what I like. She
In the
writes
moment
what the
kind of thing.
characters
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she's surprised by the POV that came in. So that means the character inserted themselves into the story that she wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
So that's like, what does that mean?
Yeah. And so I'm like, I'm hoping, I don't know. And then I've wrestled with this idea of the whole, I've seen a lot of like Elaine and Azriel fans talking about how, like, thinking that she is essentially confirmed that they were going to be together. But it's like, she said that she was wrestling with the idea that does nature sometimes get it wrong, and having to wrestle with that idea, or does it get it right? And so my eyes are probably she's going to be wrestling with between like loving Lucian and or not. That doesn't always mean that Azriel's going to be in place there. Honestly, I don't care who Elaine gets with. I don't feel like it's fair for Lucian to get stepped on and like spit on, and just metaphorically, and just like trashed on. His character did nothing to deserve that. He has been loyal to whoever he was loyal to Tamlin, and then he's tried to be loyal to the Circle, and they just kind of just snubbed him in some cases. I feel like they have, sending him off to some island, and we might get his POV on that island. Like, that might be the POV that she's surprised with. But I honestly don't care. I just feel like he doesn't deserve that. But honestly, I don't care who Elaine ends up with. I feel like she wouldn't have mentioned that mates don't always have to be together romantically if she wasn't planning on having somebody not end up with their fated mate. Like, you don't just mention that without that being the intention. I just think,
or at least exploring the idea,
Elaine,
like where she has to work through and question it before her and Lucian end up with together, if that's the case.
But like, my thing is,
part of me was wondering when she said that too, is if Elaine really is gonna get with Azriel or have a romance with him, whether they're in game or not. I'm wondering, were we gonna get Azriel's perspective, because he's still he has a very hung up situation with Mor, and I'm like, knowing her with strong female leads and all that stuff, I'm wondering if her surprise perspective was at Mor. She got Mor's character more involved and told her backstory and stuff. And I don't like it, but that's where my writer brain was like, I bet you that could be a possibility for what she meant.
I don't hate Elaine. And I feel like based on our past live streams, people might get that idea. I don't hate Elaine. I hate whiny, woe is me, I can't do anything type of attitudes. And I made a short, and then I realized I said that I went from hating Nesta to loving her. I never hated her. I was just really irritated by her, and so I deleted it so I could re-record it, and I never did. So it's like, But anyway,
I hated her. I'll just say it. I hated Nesta. I did not like her. She was the reason why I almost didn't read that book.
Okay, side comment. Her trauma has nothing to do with how much of a jerk she treated everyone, and that. As someone, because you are the eldest, you have a younger sister, and it's like, you and I have had this conversation multiple times, that it doesn't matter how nasty your situation was, you would never treat Alicia like that. And I've seen a lot of people comment, being as the older sibling, in comments being like, as an older sibling, I would never treat my siblings that way. And that was my problem with Nesta, and I'm hoping that they address that more. Because they kind of addressed it a little bit in Silver Flames, but I want the three of them to sit down and have a genuine come to Jesus moment and really hash it out. And I also feel like we know very little about Elaine, so what I have gotten from her is skewed from Feyre's perspective. which is she's whiny, she's babied, everyone's babied her, and she was in this little depression episode, but she's just, honestly, for me, in my head, it was skewed because all I was seeing is she's been babied her whole life, and so now she's, like, having
like,
problems.
What has she gone through to make her so depressed?
Yes.
Compared to
and I'm just
Feyre. Like, that was my thought the whole time in the book from Feyre's perspective.
And so I'm just like, I need her perspective. I need an Elaine story just so I can hash out how I feel about her. Because as of right now, my thoughts are skewed from the main because Feyre is she's an unreliable narrator, let's be honest. Feyre is. Most narrators are. Most characters are unreliable.
What the author does well is writing, like, we feel about certain characters based on what perspective we're given. So, like, a lot of people didn't like Rhysand because Nesta hates him.
Yes,
and we got a different side of him. So it's like we feel differently based on the narrator and who it is, and that's kind of what Sarah J Maas does.
Yeah. Okay, your thoughts on other things that I didn't touch on with Sarah that you wanted to touch on?
Okay, I'm skimming through my 1,500 word note here. So TV show, like we said, she has the rights back. She's focused on the books. She said that she wants to be in control, and so that tells me that she didn't get enough control. And she said something even like music is important and vital to the story. This is her legacy. She said she didn't like, oh, well, they want to do this for diverse representation, and she's like, no, this is my legacy, and it needs to be the way that I picture it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Casting was another huge aspect, and she hasn't found the perfect Rhysand yet. So that's the news about the TV show and what we've learned there.
Okay, so side comments. I don't know if this is considered a controversial opinion or not, but I would rather her just table the TV show and really hash out the series as a whole, because I would want 3 complete series before she even thinks about starting a TV show. Because Throne of Glass is done. Throne of Glass is done. Yes, exactly my point. Throne of Glass is done. We know that. It's established. We assume it's done. Okay? Kingdom of Ash was the grand finale. It was reshaping, which makes me wonder what's going to happen with the last book of this series anyway. But we know that that's done. We know Crescent City is not done. And we know that ACOTAR's not done because obviously she's still writing in it. So it's like, in my head, why I don't want her to get, like, I want her whole focus just to be on writing and enjoying what she writes and making a really good story. I don't want to have a mediocre story but have a TV show to go along with it. I would rather have a great story and then later down the road think about a TV show than to have a in the middle of the road kind of book series with a TV show to tag along with it. Does that make sense, kind of?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Okay.
So then about the Tamlin redemption, because that's what I was listening for, obviously. I'm pro Tamlin redemption for anybody who needs to know. She said, I would have to do it in a way that doesn't dismiss what he did or the people, women who have come up to her and told her they left abusive relationships because of it and saw Tamlin as their horrible ex and didn't dismiss that. She said she had a friend that refers to her abusive ex as Tamlin. So she said it would never undo what he's done, but that he has a horrible family and trauma under the mountain that screwed him up. She used the word F him up. And he didn't have the right coping skills for it. So that tells me that it's possible, but she would handle it delicately. So I couldn't tell if she was speaking ambiguously because she's already done that or planning it for this one, or if it's not something she's done yet. It was very kind of,
she worded it very well that you couldn't really tell. But one thing that surprised me is that we don't know a whole lot about his childhood. We know the basics of, like, what happened to his family and yada yada, and where they put, like, they had, like, the wings and all that nailed up. And based on what we know, I kind of assumed his parents were not the best. Like, his family wasn't the best. But she essentially pretty much come out and said that, essentially kind of indirectly, but not really, said that he had, I would argue probably an abusive past, but I forget how she worded it. But she essentially, if you have those of you listening, you'll have to go back and listen for it, and just be mindful of the cussing. But honestly, I think pretty much she had pretty much insinuated that he had like an abusive past that he just doesn't. Plus, Under the Mountain, and plus all this other, like, all the other stuff that Feyre also went through. But he had his own skeletons in the closet that he does not. yeah, he can't, he just didn't know how to cope with it. And when, and
Yeah.
it's just, yeah. And it was one of those things, it was just like, he just wasn't the right person for Feyre.
Yeah.
He didn't have the tools that she needed to work through her emotion, like, you know, to be able to work through her trauma. He didn't have the tools for himself, let alone the tools to help her. But he loved her enough that he was wanting to, you know, and it's just like now adding like hurt and betrayal and all that other stuff and losing his kingdom, adding all that on top of everything could make, honestly, it's probably made him very bitter. And that's probably why he makes all those comments to her in front of the other High Lords, because bitterness. When hurt can lead to bitterness, which can lead to anger, which is not a good track to go on. And so, you know, it makes me curious because I honestly don't feel like his character's done. Like, it just feels a very, like, an unfinished storyline. It just feels like a little, like, branch, an unfinished branch that just hasn't concluded yet. You know what I'm saying? But I'm definitely.
I'll never forget, there was a comment in Silver Flames when Nesta visited the Spring Court, and she said something to the effect of, like, Elaine would love it here. I'm like, why would the author put that there if it wasn't significant or important? And, like, he needs somebody to coddle, and Elaine needs to be coddled. I'm like, that is the
Yeah.
perfect pairing in my
Yeah.
head. Like, but
And that
but that would also stir up a lot of drama and stuff, so I could see that being a thing.
But that would also give him the opportunity to have to work for his redemption.
Yes.
Because I don't
I could totally see that.
I don't see Elaine just falling for it. That's the thing. Like, I would like to think that Elaine likes Feyre enough to see what he's done to her to be like, okay, you know what? No. But then again,
so my brain thinks as a writer, I don't think she would go that route, even
no,
though to me it would make a lot of sense.
I think it would be a neat idea.
Everybody would be so mad if Tamlin was the focus of, like, Elaine's romance, and, like, I don't think she would do that to her.
I'm just
fans.
Honestly, the 3 Bat Boys with the 3 sisters just seems very cliche to me. I'm just hoping she doesn't go that route, but it seems very just like stereotype.
Basic. Yeah.
So, but that's what everyone's wanting. So
about Elaine. Yeah, about Elaine, she said how Elaine's working through her own trauma, and as a writer, she loves to explore the mate bond and what if nature got it wrong, and what does free will look like with that, and how he's not sure if you don't want to be, like, forcibly married to this guy and stuff. And then we talked about the Arrow and all that stuff. So the book coming out on October 27th. She said it took her a long time to write, and she had enough things in her life to sort through. It took her to find the right story and be in the right headspace, and what poured out of her was this, and it poured out very quickly. She said she was writing it when she was in Montana, and she joked about there being, like, a vortex in Montana that just was filled with inspiration. She said, her words specifically, I actually quoted her directly, "This next project, not going to tell you the title yet or its cover. She's seen some of it. It's long, no length, but no length or no POV, so she can't say what POV it's from. But she said that was one of the things that surprised me when it came out of me. You get a lot of insight into various things, and she cut herself off, implying that she was trying not to say anymore. So you get a lot of insights into various things, and then she cut herself off. So it was like, insight into what? Like, what were you about to say? And then she said, the question was from the interviewer was, is there anything else you want to share? And she said part of the reason why it's tricky to talk about the length of this book was months. So it's coming out October 27th, and on January 12th, months later, the next ACOTAR book will be coming out. So there's 2 books within a short span. And what that means in giving us a glimpse into the project is the story was finally the story that was finally ready to come out of her was big, really, really big, she said. And as she started writing it in Montana, it came out in a way that surprised her. And by the time she reached the end of part 1, it was 400 pages long. And there's a certain reality of books and their book length because the glue would not hold together beyond a certain length. But what she was writing felt right. That's the story that needed to be told. So she decided she wouldn't approach it from a traditional format for a book. And what if this book was just really, really long? What if it took her more than 1,000 pages to tell the story that needed to be told, the arc she wanted from start to finish? What if that took a long time? Like, these are her quotes. What if that took her a long time beyond the constraints of a single volume? What does that look like? How do I tell this story? So part 1 was this huge thing, and she realized it was a book told in 4 parts, but then she wrote part 2 and 3, and those were really long. And so part 4 is yet to be written, and she's working on just getting part 1 out, which we already talked about. So it'll be 3 physical volumes of it, but it's one thing altogether that no amount of glue in any publisher factory could hold together. So it's meant to be read ideally as one massive story instead of a trilogy, because it's not a trilogy. They're not wrapped up. She never told a story that way, but that's how it wanted to come out. And she doesn't want to be held back by glue or placement on a shelf. So how does she get the story out to her readers as soon as she can when they've been so patient? She couldn't publish part 1 and make us wait a year. So that's why they're doing this back-to-back release. So the conclusion will come out later because she wants these out. It's ACOTAR, but she's telling it in a way that's exciting for her and the space the story demanded and the space the character demanded. She's not following the rules and doing what she wants so we can all have fun and what would be the most fun for all of us. There's a lot of scheming. So I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what is, people have done rapid releasing, people have divided books into parts before, so what's so new and different about this? What does that mean?
Based on some information in Crescent City 3, that makes me excited. Okay. Like, I don't know where she's going with this, but I'm, like, so pumped for it.
Dang.
Yeah. So I need you to get to read it.
Yes, I do. So she said stuff that was tricky that she had to navigate and figure out was stuff that she had to work through related to the book, but not related to the book.
Yeah.
Which again, that does seem to imply the publisher situation. She wasn't going to force herself to it, but this was her. She needed to get things sorted out first. I don't know what any of that means, but honestly, it really gives me publisher
it makes me think that the publisher wanted one thing. She had finally had enough with them. With all the crap that they put her through, and decided, no, you know what, I am getting my rights back, so I can make the creative decisions that I want to make. And that's probably why it's taken her so long, is because she's been fighting the publisher since probably the last book released.
Yeah, I imagine so. Even though the rights were to the TV show, but there seems like there's a lot of infighting with the publisher. So she said it came out when it was ready and when she was ready. When it hit, she had a vision for what it would be and how she would deliver it to us. This is how she wants to tell stories. And if she wants to adapt it for each new arc, why not? Why do we have to stick to these boxes and tell the story from A to B? Why can't we do something different?
Yeah.
So when I first heard that, my thought was like, are we going to flashbacks? Like a non-linear timeline type of thing, because like, which again, that's been done before. So my brain is like, what are we doing? What is so different? Why, like, telling a story from A to B?
I have an idea.
How are you not telling a story from A to B? My writer's brain is trying to figure that out.
I know. I think I know what she's talking about, but I can't say anything.
I need to read Crescent City, so that may just moved up my TBR list. Yeah. Thanks, Sarah J Maas. Okay. So some of the rapid fire questions. Interviewer asked, what did Lorcan do? And she's like, someone told me about it, and I don't know. Who knows? Maybe a surprise bonus content for Christmas for you all sometime. And I was like, what does that mean? What did Lorcan do? Like, what are we even whatting about what Lorcan did? Like, I don't understand. But now I'm thinking it's actually a spicy thing, so I was like, maybe not. We don't need to know, but I didn't know what that question was about. I was so confused. And I remember texting you, and you said you were confused and didn't know what she meant.
Okay.
So.
Oh! Okay, I see what it is now. Okay, so somebody on Reddit was like, hey, so just finished the series last night. It's the Throne of Glass. Someone's like, I've heard here and there. I've seen here and there a fandom questioning, what did Lorcan do? I think I missed something. What is this question referring to? And the top commenter, this is like a 2-year-old post, by the way. Okay. Somebody said, Chapter 87, Kingdom of Ash, spoilers. So, fair warning. Elaine kissed him again and whispered, show me everything. So Lorcan did. Basically, we all want to know what the HE double hockey sticks did he he do to Elaine. And we're robbed of. Sounds like we're robbed of the scene. And then underneath it, after that, she's like, "We were robbed of the scene." And someone's like, "Oh, got it. Thank you." Yeah.
I was like, it's more poetic, and it's just like it's actually beautiful that way. So like, don't ruin it.
Yeah.
So, but I meant like the author, don't ruin it and stuff, not you. I
No,
realized
you're
that
good.
came out wrong.
No, you're good.
So she said, will we see the Throne of Glass characters again? She said she thinks about them all the time, but if her kids let her sleep in past 5 a.m., sure. It sounded like she started to say there's a possibility, but she cut herself off to say the 5 a.m. thing. So I wanted to make that note
Yeah.
because she was like, if my kids ever left me sleep in past 5 a.m., sure. And she stopped at she cut herself off and changed what she
That
said. So
makes
it
me
sounded like
think.
she was going to say there's a possibility.
That makes me think of um, like later in her life when she's older and her kids are grown, she might and all of this is done, she might go back and revisit that world. That's what it makes me think of.
I
Because
can
she's
see
like,
that. Yeah, I
well,
agree
she's
with
like, when
you.
my kids let me sleep in past 5 a.m., insinuating when they're older, like when they're not young kids
Yeah.
anymore. Or like they're not young
Yeah, that
infants
makes sense.
anymore. So that's honestly, it's probably one of those things, like she wouldn't be opposed to it, but in this moment
Just
of her
doesn't have the
life, she's
time.
focused on, she doesn't have the time, and she's more focused on just completing the series instead of
Yeah.
going back.
Which,
It sounds
to be
like.
honest, I can understand that as a fellow
Yeah, me
writer.
too.
Because she mentioned she had a lore book she wanted to put out that's got put on the back burner. So it's like she only has a certain amount of time for certain books, and she's giving that her focus to those instead of
Yeah.
anything else that's like there.
Yeah.
So the last one, when asked about what are Moore's powers, she said she wasn't going to answer that because you might find out, and she's not going to give anything away. So she said anything the interviewer was asking her is possible. So it makes me wonder if we're going to go to Moore's POV.
Yeah.
Because again, it's like possibly we're gonna find out, which I'm not happy about because I didn't like Moore. I don't like
But
her
again,
character, but another
we
female
only.
character I have to contend
But
with.
see, the thing is, we don't know a whole lot about Moore. We only know what Feyre knows about Moore. That's kind of like my issue with Elaine. Like, I don't want a Blaine book, but I don't know enough about Elaine to have a genuine, true, opinion.
Yeah, it's just Moore gives me the strong female character vibes, and she's not gonna get with a guy because she's a lesbian. So I have no interest in her whatsoever.
I am hoping that she turns bad and plot twisty. That would be I don't know. It would give me or maybe not really a bad character, but
somebody's got to in the inner circle. If
I
it's
know.
the A name chick or more I feel like the A name chick, I can never remember her name. The way she was interacting with Rhysand, was it in Silver Flames, I think, or am I tripping? It just gave me bad vibes. I was just feeling like this is not right. Something's wrong with this here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But then my last comment, which I asked you privately, but we can put it out there for the commenters and the watchers. Would you consider Sarah J Maas the mother of romantasy the way that Tolkien is the father of regular fantasy? Because it's like she did the first romantasy, and I was just like, that's such a kind of a mind-blowing thing because it all came after her.
Yeah.
I
feel like the TikTok equivalency to romantic fantasy started with her, but I feel like I remember seeing a Reddit post one time that made the comment that they thought that she took inspiration from another another fantasy series. So I don't know if she was the very first one, but she's the author that was first labeled as romantasy and what established that.
Yeah,
so
I'm trying to think what else was coming out around that time. It was Hunger Games and Divergent, so they were romantic, but they weren't fantasy. They were dystopian. And even this is kind of because City of Bones came out in 2007, and so it was kind of romantasy, but it's more YA contemporary fantasy than romantasy specifically. When she came out with ACOTAR, because Throne of Glass was epic fantasy, so it's ACOTAR, and was there a romantic fantasy that came out before ACOTAR is my question.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my thought.
Yeah.
2015. May of 2015 is when ACOTAR was published. When was the first romantasy book published? We're just gonna Google it and see what Google has to say. Okay, so one person said Mercedes Lackey's Valdemar series started in the late 80s. So I know my husband's a huge Mercedes Lackey fan, so I may ask him about that. Marianne Zimmer Bradley wrote The Mist of Avalon in 1983. Mist of Avalon is really good, but I wouldn't call that a romantasy.
While popular romanticism may be new, the roots of romanticism came from book publishers prior, such as Jacqueline Clary's Cushell's Dart and Karen Marie Moning's Fever series, which created the modern blend of readers' love, a mixture of magic and romance. And then it touches, like, literally after that, authors popularized the rise of romanticism, including Sarah J Maas with her Court of Thorns and Roses series and her Throne of Glass series, author Rebecca Yarros. Yeah, so it mentions, like, books that were a part of that genre starting out, but I feel like the series, the authors, probably the author that made romanticism a thing was probably Sarah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Kind of like, Tolkien with that, or George Lucas with the specific sci-fi that's like Star Wars sci-fi.
Yeah.
Space opera, or whatever that genre is called.
Sweet.
So yeah, I think we actually got through this.
YA genre controversy. You said that there was...
Yes, that was my fault. Okay, so there's this book called Sibylline by Maria de la Cruz, I believe is her name.
Okay.
And the book is YA, which, for those of you who don't know, the technical definition of YA is actually marketed toward 12 to 18-year-olds. Mm-hmm. A lot of adults read it, but it actually is meant for 12 to 18-year-olds, so minors.
High school. Like high school.
The YA book.
Middle, like upper, to give people a very vague idea of age, upper middle school to high school. Like 8th grade through senior year.
So it's called Sibylline by Melissa de la Cruz.
Okay.
And in this book, not only does it have a very explicit, spicy sex scene, but it's a threesome. And one of the characters is a dead character.
Oh my god. What?
And they're teenagers.
Why?
Yeah. So not only could the dead character not consent, I think he's somehow dead or almost dead, or he becomes conscious in the middle of it, but he didn't consent to the things that were happening to him, and he's kind of dead and not really dead. Like, there's a little bit of confusion, and it's like nobody wants to read the scene to find out what actually happened. But it's basically a threesome with necrophilia geared toward kids. And the thing about Melissa de la Cruz is that she worked on and wrote Disney's Descendants, which is a popular teenage type of thing. So they're like, why are you grooming kids? Like, why are you grooming teenagers for this kind of crap? Ugh. And then it was a Good Morning America book club pick.
Ugh.
And so all of the publishers, all of the editors, the proofreaders, the ARC readers, everybody had to approve this. The publishers, like, why did you approve this? And so everybody's in an outrage to call it out. And to call the people out on this, because this is too far. And then there's other people that are like, why did it take something this extreme for people to finally open their eyes to the fact that spice in YA has been on the rise for years and nobody has said a thing about it? And it's like, when you allow that kind of stuff, this kind of stuff ends up sneaking in there, because the line gets further and further away from what's allowed and what's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's a lot of people who are like, I've been called, like, this one person, I didn't get names for things, but like, this person was calling out YA, like spice in YA books for many years, and it's like, it shouldn't take something this graphic and explicit and extreme to get our attention.
What was the book called?
Sibylline. Sibylline. Sibylline.
Oh yeah, it is a 2.0. Oh, I saw a video of people hiding the book in stores and saying they were saving the next generation, and I didn't quite understand. I thought it was just really angsty, but that makes a lot of sense. And it also has like a 2.5 stars.
And like alerting. Yeah, and they're like alerting the staff to not put it with the YA books too, is what some people are doing as well. So I heard that it was getting low reviews, but I actually haven't read any of them.
Oh, it is. So, it was like, first line of this one, inappropriate in all caps for anyone under 18. Non-con threesome in a YA is suggested for 9th grade and up, ? And then wow. I was not at all expecting to dislike this because I liked the author of Blue Blood series in high school, but this was really bad. Wish I could give a 0 stars. This should never be open door smut scenes in a YA book, despite depictions of a threesome are not for 14-year-olds. Somebody give it a 3 stars, which is like the not the consensus here at all.
I'm like 192 people have given it 3 stars. I was like, wow, but there's 172 at 1 star and then 98 for 2 stars. So 41 people who've given it 5 stars. Like, who's giving this book 5 stars? As I want to know. And they said that it's not just that one scene. Apparently, there's a lot of like lusting and unnatural, like a huge amount of like lusty stuff in this book as well. And they don't mention anywhere about safe practices. If you catch my drift, like nobody's safe in these scenes.
Yeah.
So,
ugh, that's just disgusting.
And the publishers are publishers that are specifically designed for young teens. Like, I can't remember who they said the publishers were.
HarperCollins.
But
is HarperCollins one of them?
It's P something. It starts with a P. Sibylline book publisher name. Doop. Putnam's. Putnam publisher. Yeah, Putnam publisher. They are. I'm actually going to their website right now. They are Penguin Publishing Group. I didn't know. Oh, wow. Penguin Young Readers.
Yeah, so I guess someone's like, I recently came across an interesting statistic from HarperCollins. This is a Reddit post, by the way, in the Romance Unfiltered Reddit. It says that I recently came across an interesting statistic from HarperCollins. A quote from the article, it says 74% of YA readers are adults and nearly a quarter of them are over the age of 28, supposedly is what they're saying. And the person says, a quote from the article explaining why readers say they are reading YA versus adult fiction. They want some fun, they want romance, they want interesting settings, says Alex Brown, 05, a teen services librarian at an independent school in California. And readers weren't necessarily getting that from adult fiction, particularly a few years ago. And then the person went on to say, which means the majority of the audience for young adult books isn't actually young adults. This could explain the uptake of publishers and selfish authors inserting adult themes into this category. It could also explain the immature characters of modern romance books too. There seems to be a blur of lines. I guess publishers no longer gaff that traditional YA was never supposed to cater to adult themes and tastes. And then it mentions the recent controversy, and this person particularly said she should have went to write a dark romance for adults if that's what she wanted to do.
Yes.
Yeah. And
so that's my thing. That belongs in the dark, weird romance with
yes, that is definitely a dark romance oh my god. Ugh. Like, and there's times where I'll see like my 8th graders will have books that I'm like, I'm pretty sure that book has an immature scene in it. Like, I'm pretty sure a book has an immature scene in it. But it's like, their parents are letting them read it, or they don't know they're reading it. So it's like, you know what? I'm not going to be that person. But it's like,
I mean, as a teacher, you kind of can't, because again, it's their parents, so it's not up. I mean, if you don't want to have it in your classroom or like on a shelf in your classroom or something, you can. But what they read is what they read, and so you can't really do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like the lines have blurred for many years, and yeah, it's just. But at the same time, we're dealing with like a reading crisis, where like not that many people are reading anymore. And then when they do read, they read this kind of stuff. And so the reading fictional books that like expand your imagination and your creativity and culture doesn't exist as much anymore, because everybody's just reading smut and stuff without any extra stuff. So But yeah, that was the thing. It's been
Ugh.
I've like Bookstagram is exploding with people calling it out, and also like shout out to all of my authors out there who
Has
are No Spice YA
has
authors.
the has
You
the
know,
has she made a statement?
she has banned her account, like she has blocked her account because people were trying to like tag her, and she's basically hiding out and not making a statement at all.
Hmm.
And
Um.
then I think Goodreads America or Good News America, Good Morning America, whatever it's called, was talking about they had made a post on their Instagram saying that they were a book club announcement, and they unpinned the post, but I don't think they've removed it yet
Hmm.
because of the backlash. So to be seen, I suppose. I'm trying to see Good Morning America. I'm gonna check their Instagram real quick while we're because somebody said the post was still up, but I'm not seeing it if that's really what it was. Yeah, I'm not seeing it on their Instagram page if that's
Hmm.
yeah, so I don't know. So that's the controversy, which I mean isn't really controversial, it's wrong, period. It's just a thing that's exploding the internet right now with inappropriate stuff. So but hey, we got through everything.
Yeah, look at
In
that.
like the 2 hours or whatever, however long it's been. Mm.
We also have to put our clocks back because time changes tomorrow, so we lose an hour of
What?
night. Yeah, it's tomorrow.
No.
Yeah, so
Oh, nobody's
technically,
prepared me for this.
technically, it would this time tomorrow it'll be at 10:58 instead of 9:58.
I will be awake. I'm always awake for those hours, and so I'm like, I've lost an hour, I've gained an hour in
Yeah.
my existence. And it's wonderful when it's fall because I gain an
Uh huh.
extra hour to exist.
Yeah.
It's awful. I'll be awake tonight for that, and I'll be like, where is my hour gone?
Yep. So
Like it'll just
I am
I don't like
going
it.
to be like trying to stay awake at church tomorrow because I will be so
I'm gonna be a
tired.
zombie. Yeah, this I'm
I will
not
be such a
I
zombie
do
tomorrow.
not
It's gonna be
function
great.
in this time. I like my brain just doesn't like it. I cannot function with it. But what are you guys reading? What are your March TBRs? Let us know in the comments below. And also let
Yes.
us know if you got any like book recommendations, authors, book news coming out, and also controversial stuff and
Yeah,
drama.
for
We love
sure.
book drama
Yep. And if
when
you
we aren't
are
involved, at least.
deciding, let us know if you are rereading any of the upcoming series for the upcoming books. Let us know your plans.
Yeah. We got Cassandra Clare, we got Sarah
Joanna's
J.
got a
Maas,
lot
and
to
fun.
tackle this month, so.
Yeah. What better way to get me out of a reading
Yeah,
slump, right?
yep, that works. All right, we'll talk to y'all later.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. Oh, that was the wrong one, and you can still hear me. Ah!